Hi there, it's me, Art, and I'm fresh off my victory at the Shark Tank. And I'm going to tell you tonight about a business opportunity that the Sharks said was worth $1 million. And they're right. And they wanted me to sell my business opportunity for $100,000. But I wouldn't do it. I'm going to allow you to start for free. And they valued it at $1 million. And I'll explain to you why. Because I'm in the publishing and advertising business. And it's really no different than the Valpak franchise, coupon franchise, the Homes and Land real estate magazine franchise, the Clipper magazine franchise, the Coffee News franchise. These are all franchises. On average, they charge $75,000 for their franchise. There's another franchise, Natural Awakenings. It's all the healthy stuff. Here's another franchise, the Coastal Angler. Here's another franchise, the Auto Trader. These are all franchise magazine publications, and they're all selling franchises all over the country. But the thing is, I teach you to do your own franchise. But you see, why did the Sharks put such a big value on my business opportunity? Because when you buy a franchise from any one of these companies, you get a tiny little territory. And what I'm allowing my students to do is have the whole country, the whole world. There are no territorial restrictions. So you could start your Valpak in your own community or your generic Valpak. I teach you everything there is. And then you could expand it all over the country. You could start 10, 20 different magazine franchises. It doesn't matter. What I teach my students is all the same mechanics. It doesn't matter what they're going to print. They're going to make money. And I've been doing magazines for years and teaching people for years. Here's one of my papers. Here's another one of my papers. Here's a paper for one of my students. These are all color papers. Here's another paper from another student. Here's another paper. I could go on and on with all my different papers. And there's even more. But anyhow, the way the Shark Tank feels about this opportunity is that, number one, if you purchase 10 different franchises, that's $750,000. And that's with one tiny zip code in each business plan, each franchise. If you were to take each one of these franchises and go national with them, forget about it. It could reach into the millions and millions of dollars. So the Sharks, and they don't make many mistakes, they told me that my business opportunity is worth millions of dollars, and you can get in on my business opportunity and you could start for free. And I'm going to explain all the details to you. Now, I left the Shark Tank because they wanted me to charge $100,000 for my opportunity. But I'm usually working with people that are working with full-time jobs and elderly people. The people I work with, they're usually broke. But anyhow, I didn't want to take the deal, and I'm going to continue to work with the people that are in dire need of getting into their own businesses. So, but right away, you're $1 million ahead of the game. And that's according to the Sharks. Now, how much can you earn in the publishing business? There's no limit. I mean, you could have 5 papers. You could you could franchise any one of them under your own label. Some of my students do have 5 papers. Some of them do sell franchises. There's no limits. There's also another facet to this business that I'm going to get into at the very end. This much I'll tell you. There's a fortune that could be made in newspaper and magazine publishing, and you can do it from your own home. And because of my years of success in this business, I can teach you how to do it without any investment, without any startup costs. All the customers are there in place waiting for you already. Basically, it's an advertising business, and every customer I go to buys because I sell them a full color ad for 1 cent delivered to all the people that are surrounding their business in the mailbox. 1 cent for a full color ad. They all sign on, and I'm going to tell you later, I'm going to give you the sales pitch and you'll understand why they sign on. One of my students started with a 68-page Auto Trader magazine because there was a 120-page book in his community. So it was very easy to copy them and get all the customers, just charge them less money. Made $50,000 his first issue. Look at all the newspapers and magazines in your own area. Now listen, not every area is conducive for this business. If you live in the boondocks, then it's not going to work. There's got to be people there. And I'll check it out for you, and that's free too. If you call me up, give me your zip code, I'll look it up with my software, and I'll tell you how many homes and businesses are in your zip code and whether or not you could, your community is supportive of this type of business. Like I say, if you're living in the boondocks, it could be a problem. Actually, it's a problem. If there's no people by you, there's no businesses by you, there's nobody to advertise to. Another thing I forgot to mention, the Sharks, they said that because I teach people the business from the ground up, and they're not paying anybody to design their ads, they're doing it themselves, and then nobody's making money on their printing. I'm sending them right to my printer. They're buying 12-page all-color newspapers for under 10 cents, and there's no royalties. They said that's worth another $1 million in the long run. So according to the Sharks, this business opportunity is worth $2 million, and you can start for free. Make sure you visit my website and watch all the tutorial videotapes, including the one how to start for free in your own community. Don't start for free unless you check that your community can support this kind of business, so you should call me up. But anyhow, people are getting rich in this business. There's a tremendous amount of profit. And like I say, you can start your own franchise like the Valpak, the Clipper magazine, the Homes and Land, the Auto Trader, any one you want, and it doesn't cost you anything. And they're all making a fortune. Like I say, there's a lot of money in the publishing business, publishing, advertising, mailing. You're going to be mailing this to all the customers, all the households surrounding all these businesses. At least some of the magazines, they rotate around targeted mailings. Some of them you're just going to distribute in supermarkets and various retail outlets. And no matter how you distribute, there's a fortune of money to be made. Now, can you do it? I don't know. Can you do it? Well, there's 25,000 independent publishers in America today, and I'm just one of them. And every time I train someone into this business, they just add one more. There's also over 2,000 publishers publishing different franchise magazines all over the country. And can you do it? Yes, you can do it, because I teach my students to do the graphics. I teach my students to lay the paper out. I teach my students how to get the paper printed with all the specifications. I teach my students how to do the advertorials, which will separate their medias from the competitors. They'll be better than any of those coupon papers I just mentioned. I teach my students how to navigate the bulk mailing system. How to navigate the bulk mailing system and how to mail their papers for 17 cents a copy. I teach my paper students everything. And when you get started, I tweak the ads for you. When a customer says, make me up a sample ad, I want to see it before I give you any money. So you'll make up the ad because I taught you how to do it, but then you'll send it to me and I'll tweak it and I'll make sure your customer approves it. My methods are proven. I've been doing them for years. They didn't start out proven. I made mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning, but I'm doing this now for years, and everything I do now comes out perfect. And again, there's no startup course in this business, because when I teach you the business, you're going to go around to the stores and you're going to sell advertising. You're going to have a sample paper like this. This particular paper is made just to sell advertising. It's got sales pitches throughout it. Look at this over here. This color ad, reaching your neighbors for 1 cent. But there's sales promotions throughout the paper, and advertorials, and my best ads ever. The paper does the selling for you. There's a whole videotape just on the paper. And to remind you again, I'll get you the 12-page all-color newspaper printed for under 10 cents. That's for the whole 12 pages. You know, if you go to Staples, they get 59 cents for one color copy. But I can show you, my printer will do it for you. And a lot of times we find printers, I'm associated with 25 at a minimum all across the country. But if you want, you could use my printer under 10 cents. Sometimes we find printers in your own area, it's even less money. But when you go into the businesses, you're going to go in with maps showing where you're going to be mailing the papers. You're going to be going with bulk mail receipts, so they're going to know you're legitimate. This is what it looks like when you come back from the printer and the papers are in your car. Unless my printer's going to mail it to you. Then you're going to get a little pallet of papers. It's no big deal. It's 3 feet by 3 feet. Comes up 2 feet off the ground. It's 20 little boxes with 500 in it. That's 10,000 papers. Weighs 20 pounds a box. It's nothing. This is what the papers look like when you wheel them into the post office for the bulk mailing. And I teach my students everything. Everything I know I teach you, including how to sell. And I'm going to go into that in a minute about how I sold every single customer that I ever visited, because nothing could compete with my direct targeted mail advertising newspapers. And I would get a lot of business online. I would go onto the yellow pages and I would send flyers just like this to all the skilled trades on Craigslist. I would send it to the different trades in the yellow pages. I would find business cards around and I would send ads to them on their emails. I would find business cards in restaurants, in libraries, on post offices, and I was always emailing my sales flyers, and I would get customers that way. And you know something, when we mail the paper to a house, there's 3 people in a house. And when we sell it for less than the price of a business card. Because right here, for instance, my own paper, I was mailing 10,000. So I would charge a guy $100 for the ad. For him to buy 10,000 business cards cost $680 from Vistaprint. and there's 3 people in a house. So it was like printing 30,000 business cards. Every business I went to signed on for advertising with me. Anyhow, advertising was easy to sell. The paper was easy to do. Once you know how to do it, it wasn't easy in the very beginning. Okay, but I teach you everything. I hold your hand and I take you step by step and teach you the whole business. And because of the fact that my paper specializes in advertorials, we kill all the competition because the advertorials, they're like stories. And the people remember the stories better. And the stories are like reading materials, so they keep the paper in the house longer. And when the potential advertiser reads the advertorial, when you show up with the sample paper, they get blown away. And they say, whoa, could you do that for me? And yeah, you could do that for them. I teach you how to do that, just like I teach you how to do the regular ads. Advertorials are proven to be 10 times more effective. So you're going to crush the competition just with your advertorials alone. Forget about the price. But anyhow, if you Google it, you'll see for yourself that they're 10 times more effective. So therefore, it's better for your customers and it's better for you because they have to take at least a half page in order to do an advertorial. So that's what it is, you know, most of the ads are going to be bigger than the penny a house, but that's how you get in the door. That's how they all get excited when they hear that. And since I came up with my sample paper dedicated for the one purpose of selling advertising, of helping my students sell advertising, every student who has gone out to sell advertising has succeeded. No failures yet. Everybody is succeeding. The paper was strategically laid out so that when the potential advertiser is looking at an ad or reading an advertorial, in the corner is your sales pitches that you're giving to him as he's looking things over. It's unbelievable. It was years in the making, and now it's here and you can benefit from it. Used to be only 60% of the students went on to publish the papers because they got samples of my papers with my North and South Carolina advertisers in it. Sometimes they weren't good salespeople, but now all you have to do is just turn the pages the customers are going to buy. You just have to read your script right out of the paper. And the printing, I got it down so cheap now. I sent so many of my students to my printer that he's repaying me with a special price of under 10 cents for a 12-page all-color newspaper. It's unbelievable. Full color, gorgeous colors. And I'll be able to get it for you because, you see, I put you right in touch with my printer. I don't make any money off you. I train you to do everything yourself in this business where nobody makes a nickel off you. You just make money. I teach you how to do the bulk mailings for 17 cents a paper. I teach you how to get the paper printed for under 10 cents a paper. So there ain't anything you're not going to know. I teach you how to lay out the ads. And you know how I teach you? It's really easy. I teach you on Skype with what's called share screen. So when you're watching your computer screen, you're watching me as I'm designing and doing stuff. Then I say, okay, your turn. Now you go down to the bottom of the computer, you press on the program icon, and now up comes the program, and now I'm telling you what to do. You just saw me do it, and now I'm telling you what to do. Nobody ever has a problem doing it because of this system. And you'll make a beautiful ad the first night. So you don't have to have any special skills, and you don't have to worry if you could do it or not. Anybody can do it. I go slow. It's on the Skype. You're watching me as I'm doing it. It's the greatest system. It's all mechanical, like I say. Easy, easy, easy. And like I say, selling the advertising, it's unbelievable. Everybody signs on. As soon as you give them the paragraph, hey, I bought a newspaper franchise and I'm going to be mailing my paper to everybody in the zip code, your zip code, all 13,000 homes. And I'm going to have full color ads just like this for a penny a house. It's going to come in the mailbox. Do you think you're interested? There's 3 people in the house, you know. Oh, they're all interested. And I'm going to go over it in a couple of minutes. But you just don't sell people like that. You sell everybody. You're going to sell the biggest customers, the guys on TV, the guys on the radio. There's nobody that can compete with this targeted direct mail advertising vehicle. Anyhow, I'm going to get into that. I already told you about the advertorials, about how when they read them, they're going to want them. So any of the customers that are in any other medias, when they read this, it's like, wow, where have you been? So, and then what happens is when you go to visit an advertiser and they're in a coupon book like the Clipper magazine or the Valpak, so you tell them, yeah, I seen you in there, you know, but I can provide you with more effective advertising and you don't have to give anything away, and I'll bring new customers in because the ones coming into you with those coupons, they're your regular customers and you're giving away the house, but I'm going to write all about you, your benefits. People that never been here before are going to read about you and are going to come in and become your customers. And your customers are still going to continue to come, but they're not going to get a discount anymore. Oh, the businesses they love. I got a list of the different businesses that I would sell advertising to. The list is endless. Check it out on my website. Make sure you visit the website. Fun News Franchise. You got the annotation over on the screen. You can press on it. But first watch the rest of this video. Then watch the rest of the videos when you go to my website. But anyhow, when you read those advertorials for yourself on my website, you'll understand why everyone signs on. Now, can you work at home? Yeah, I'd say about 85% of the work is done at home because I'm designing the ads, I'm sending out emails, I'm prospecting at home. I mean, you do got to go out. You do got to visit the local businesses. That you do have to do, but you're still doing the bulk of the work at home. The bulk of the work at your own computer. You know, you're laying out the paper at home, you're preparing the bulk mailings at home, a lot of stuff you're doing at home. And you're going to be making money while you're sleeping. I'm going to tell you all about that in a little while. Now, one of the things is I'm going to teach you all the shortcuts. And let's see, I got some notes here. And I'm looking at them for the second time. Now, the training and support, I'm the trainer. I'm going to talk to you on the Skype. You're going to be calling me at home. I'm training people since 2009. So far, I haven't had a complaint because I better not get a complaint. You'll wake me up at night, and I don't want nobody waking me up at night. That's why I say call me up. I'll check on your community, and I'll be checking on you. If you don't seem like you got the capabilities to be in business, then I'm not going to work with you as my student. The way it works is we make that ad the first night, and then you make a couple of more ads, you send it to me, and I correct them. I show you the difference between your ads and my ads. We go back and forth, and we do the same thing with advertorials. Then after that, I help you put together your presentation book so you could be out selling in 5 days and look incredible. So you're out selling in 5 days. Then they're telling you, yes, sounds great. Make me up a sample ad. I'll be tweaking your ads for you. You need Windows 7 or Windows 8 to work with me and my special software. If you got a Mac, so you'll buy a cheap regular computer with Windows 8 on it. And don't forget, you got to call me up and we've got to check on your zip code. And you got to visit the website. There's so much more information there, including a long video on how you can start this business for free. And I advise you to do that. Basically, my training is usually around 12 hours, but it never ends. As long as you keep publishing and you keep needing me, I'm here. I got nowhere else to go, and I love to do graphics, and I love to help my students succeed. Now, one of the categories on my website will take you to my website where my paper is. And if you go there, what you're going to see is I was mailing my paper to 5 different zip codes, North and South Carolina. And no, I wasn't mailing 1 million people. There were just no people where I was. It was a rural area. There were no regular businesses, mainly restaurants and 2 Walmarts. You know, no real business could have survived in that area with the 2 Walmarts over there. And we all went to Walmarts. And my paper was in North Carolina, North and South. I was right by the border. Now I'm back in New York because I kept my house here, but the idea is half the businesses out there in the Carolinas wouldn't talk to me because they didn't like my accent. They didn't like the Northerners. They don't like the Yankees. And they're right. We're arrogant. Listen. Yes, yes, ma'am. We're not like them. We're not polite like that. We're arrogant. We're brutally honest. So half them wouldn't even talk to me when they heard my accent. So, but between the fact that I had to reach out a 30-mile radius to reach 20,000 homes, there were no businesses there other than Walmart. Half the businesses wouldn't speak to me. I still had no problem making $100,000 a year and working 3 hours a day for the 6 years that I operated my paper in that territory. But a lot of times my students, they're so lucky they got 20,000 homes in one zip code in a 3-mile radius. It's so easy. Sometimes I would be mailing my paper to North Carolina, and my advertisers in the South side and South would say, I don't get as much response when you mail to the other side of the border. And I'd say, well, you still get 30% of your business, don't you? I don't know if it's that. And they were right, you know, they didn't get as much. So I used to have to battle that objection. But some of my students, most of them are so lucky. They have great zip codes in urban areas where there's just more people. And that makes it so easy. Nobody ever says anything they're not happy where you're mailing the paper. It's the easiest thing in the world. Now, I had no competition. I made all my money from the competitors, whoever was advertising. No matter where they were advertising, I looked up whoever was advertising. If they were spending money, I targeted them. For instance, there was a Valpak there, and I went to all the advertisers there, and I told them, half the people don't go through the envelope. And I know it's true because I don't. It's too much work. It was so easy to convince them to go into my paper for less money because the people, not only do they go through the paper, it's easy to go through, but they keep it around the house for weeks because there's reading material and everything. If there's one coupon in there that you're interested in, you keep the whole paper around. With the Valpak, if they even go through it, you pick out one coupon and you throw the rest into the garbage, so there's no comparison. There was a coffee news in my territory, and I used to go to the diner there. And I used to use the coffee news, as a placemat, and so did everyone else. It was one page. It was used more of a placemat than anything else. I went to the advertisers on the coffee news. they signed on. They knew that everybody just threw that out, you know. It never made it into the home. Nobody ever got familiar with who was on the coffee news, you know. It was a blowout. And then I would go to all the advertisers in the big newspapers. And the story is, these big newspapers, people don't buy them today. They get the news on the internet. But the idea is that 3 out of 10 people do buy the big newspaper, but when they buy it, 1 of the 3 buys it for the sports section, another one buys it for the classified section, and only 1 of the 10 goes through the whole paper. And unfortunately, the big newspaper usually covers 100-mile radius, such a far distance that when you put an ad in there, you're reaching people so far away, they ain't never coming to your business. And you're only reaching 1 out of 10 people anyhow, so you're really wasting your money. Those people were so easy to sign on from the big newspapers. Some of my customers were big TV advertisers, and I had no problem getting them aboard either. Because between all the different direct TV, dish TV, satellite TV, regular channels, the odds of somebody catching the guy's TV commercial and the odds of the customer being in a close enough vicinity to actually get to you is like playing Russian roulette. When I would mail my paper out, I would mail it to everybody, all the households that are surrounding the business. So the people that are going to get my paper are all close enough to go into the business and spend money. So I never had any competition with the TV guys or with the radio guys. They were on it just because they had so much money to burn. But by the time I was done talking to them, they agreed. They knew I was right. They knew it didn't make any sense, but they said, well, I signed a contract. Anyhow, then I used to get customers. They used to send postcards to my house. And they'd pay 80, 90 cents to send 1 postcard to my house. And I would put them in my paper for a penny a house. And then they wouldn't throw the postcard out like they do right away. I've signed on I've trained a lot of different real estate people into this business now. And a lot of them, they always tell me how they were spending 80 cents to send out those stupid postcards that said, we sold a house on your block, you know. They told me they never got a response from it, and they hated spending that money, and they would only send out like a couple of hundred at a time, you know. So, I mean, forget about it. The real estate people that signed on with me to learn this business immediately went around to all their buddies and got them in the paper for a couple of pennies. They put them into 10,000 homes. Everybody wants to get into the home. And the reason the paper is so effective, it's like I would tell the postcard guys, you know, if it's a plumber postcard comes, the plumbing's working, the postcard goes right in the garbage. Boom, $1 in the trash can. But if the plumber had a half a page ad in my paper and it was costing him 4 cents, and the paper came to the house and there was something else I wanted in the paper, or there was some articles that I didn't read in the paper yet, so now the paper's laying around my house. Now somebody comes to visit me and they stuff up the toilet bowl. 2 weeks later I get a fat guest, 400 pounds, and he stuffs up the toilet bowl. And there's the plumber's ad in my paper with the free estimate. My paper is not 10 times more effective than any other media out there. It's 50 times more effective. The internet people, forget about it. You know what happens when the paper keeps coming to the house and they keep seeing the business's name over and over and over. Sammy's Shoes, Chris's Pizza Place, Hometown Mall, whatever they keep seeing, they remember what they've been seeing. And they get familiar with it. It becomes trustworthy. And so when it's time for them to look up that business, even if they don't have the paper, they go to the internet and they search for the guy who's been sending the papers to the house, whose name they heard of. Because you just punch in shoes, you're going to get Payless. You're going to get the big chains. You punch in pizza, you're going to get Domino's. You're going to get Papa John's. So the internet doesn't work for the independent businesses that I'm looking to get business from anyhow, you know. And they know that. By me, people would advertise on billboards. And what I would tell these billboard advertisers is, number one, what kind of offer can you make to me when I'm going 50 miles an hour? And the same people travel the same road over and over and over again. So you're really not hitting a lot of people. You're hitting the same group of people over and over. The yellow pages, they had page after page of lawyers. Page after page. Look it up for yourself, of accountants. When you go to the yellow pages, you're only going to pick one lawyer. So I would tell these guys, why are you bunched together with 50 guys all looking for the one phone call? Take a full page with me. I'll give you an exclusive. And so for $750, I give a guy a full page, and now he doesn't he have any competition. He could become the name brand in the community. And it doesn't take long, just a few issues. It's so easy to beat all my competitors, to get all the other medias, their customers, and steal them away from them. It was so easy. Sometimes a guy would leave flyers in my mailbox in my community, and there was 350 houses there. They'd stick color flyers in the bottom part of the mailbox. They couldn't go in the mailbox, that's illegal. They'd put it in the bottom. They'd spend 10 hours driving through my community, inching along and sticking their arm out and putting if it rained, all their flyers got wet. It was a total waste of the day and money. Anyhow, when I would call these guys, because I'm probably the only one that called, I would call them when I got a flyer, and I would tell them, hey, look, I got your flyer. Oh, they'd be jumping up and down. Wow, really? I just put it out yesterday. I'd say, yeah, I know. And I'd say, well, I just wanted to let you know. I said, how many hours it take you to go through the community? Oh, 10 hours. I says, what'd you use? About a half a tank of gas? Yeah. I says, well, listen, there's 350 houses. Those color flyers, they're 20 cents each. Yeah, how do you know? I said, so you spent $70 on flyers. You spent 10 hours in the community. You spent a half a tank of gas. You figure you spent maybe close to $200. Yeah, maybe. I says, well, listen, for $100, I'll give you a full color ad in my newspaper, and I'll send it to 10,000 homes all surrounding my house where you dropped off the flyer. What? They felt so stupid. Then sometimes, if I got bored, I would call somebody who was leaving the business cards around, and I would explain to them, hey, listen, I picked up your business card. Oh, they'd get all excited with that too. And I'd say, yeah, but you know, none of the successful businesses, they ever leave the business cards around. And to be honest, I'd never have anyone come into my house that just left business cards around and didn't invest in their own business. I'd be scared, and I wouldn't trust them. I mean, you know, you want bonded people coming to your house, legitimate people that are going to spend money on their own businesses. At least if a guy's got an ad in a paper, then you know he's some kind of a legitimate business, you know. So it didn't matter what kind of advertising they were doing. I would collect all the papers, all the magazines, all the newspapers, whatever I saw anywhere on TV. And the TV people, those people I would stumble into because I watched Netflix, so I never saw their commercials. And my wife would watch the pastors all the time. And then when I got to them, they'd say, don't you see me on TV? I said, no. And I would tell them. And then I would tell them, you know, and I'm not alone. What are the odds of someone catching you on TV? And they'd, anyhow, then I would sell people even that weren't advertising. Sometimes I'd go in because I was in the strip mall. And the guy'd say, well, I don't advertise. I'd say, well, of course you're advertising. I don't advertise. I says, well, I see you got here 20 foot of frontage. I says, it's probably costing you about 9, 10 grand a month to keep this place open. Yeah, I says, well, what do you think that is? I says, you're paying $500 a day for 20 feet of frontage, and I never knew what was in here, and I'll bet you everyone in my community don't know what's in here. Really? I says, yeah. I says, well, I do a good business. I said, but imagine if we all knew what you had in here. I says, you're advertising, you don't even know it. I says, are you going to make a wedding and hire a band and buy a wedding dress and spend for catering and not send out the invitations? Isn't that insane? Boom! There was nobody who could get away from me. And like I say, when they were in the coupon vehicles, once I gave them the story with my advertorials, oh, were they happy. They hated giving away the advertising. They hated giving away their money in discounts, And like I said, you don't have to do that. Read this. Wow, yeah. The tradespeople, they're all about getting into the house. I had so many HVAC people in my book and landscapers, lawn guys. I mean, they're all about reaching the homeowner. There's nothing like targeted direct mail. Some of you guys get the red plum. It's the same as the red plum. Again, so it doesn't matter how big the business was, where they were advertising. They all signed on because my advertising was cheaper than a business card. Like I say, I was mailing $10,000 a month. The guy took the smallest ad. It was $100. It's a penny a house. 10,000 business cards cost $650 from Vista Print. You'll take those 10,000 business cards to the grave with you. This product is the greatest ever. It doesn't matter if I'm competing against a $200,000 magazine franchise. None of them are as good as the product that I teach my students to put out. And with the sample paper in hand, it's impossible not to sell the advertising. If you don't sell the advertising, that means you didn't go out. That means you didn't turn the page, because whoever been going out with my sample paper sells the advertising and starts a successful business. There's a saying, and it's very true. You're only as good as your product. This product is the greatest. There's nothing that can compare with it. I chased all the other medias out of my territory. Now, that's the direct mail facet of my business. There's another thing that I've been teaching people to do, and it's pre-priced papers. And you don't have to do any selling. I mean, you don't have to do any selling with the targeted mail vehicle either. But with this vehicle, you're just putting out your pre-priced papers. These are the mugshot papers. You must be familiar with them. They're all over the country. This is the joke paper. They're pre-priced $1.59. They're 12 pages. They're all color. On my website, I got all the videos from the mugshot paper, from the news channels, talking about all the different mugshot papers and how great they're doing and what kind of commotion they're making in the neighborhood. I mean, it's unbelievable. Why? Everybody wants to know who's in jail, who did it, which of my neighbors did it. And listen to this, when you watch the videos, some of those mugshot publishers, they're going to tell you, some of them got masks on their face. They're hiding because the criminals are looking for them. But listen, don't worry. My mugshot paper is used for fake people, fake criminals. Don't worry. We distort the faces. I'm here on the mugshot paper. You could put all your friends there. You could put your family there. There's no repercussions, and nobody knows. You don't publicize this, but you just put in the funny stories with the mugshots, just like they're known. Wife turns in husband for stealing her cocaine, all kind of crazy nonsense, stupid criminals, funny stories, but the people, they get addicted to the mugshot paper. They get addicted to the joke paper. and you get 10,000 papers under a dime a piece. That's under $1,000, and you drop these 10,000 papers off by different stores. You give them each a bundle of 100. Oh, this is what a bundle looks like. Oh, that's a bundle of 100 papers. It's nothing with nothing. Oh, but anyhow, the mugshot papers and the joke papers, they sell like crazy. The money is unbelievable because, like I started to say, they're pre-priced $1.59. You bring them into the stores and you tell the storekeeper to put them on his counter. Every one he sells, he makes 50 cents. You go back a month later and you collect $1.09 for all the missing papers. You're going to get $109 back, because if you took a month, your papers are really gone, you know. Sometimes they'll call you, come back, they're gone, you know. But the stores, they're all anxious to get your papers because it's an extra SKU for them to work with. And they just love it. Anyhow, everybody, and then once you start developing a business with the mugshot and the joke papers, they start selling more and more. The parents grab the joke paper to bring home for the kids. It's clean, it's family oriented. And the nosy bodies, which is practically all of us, grab the mugshot papers. And they're funny, it's entertaining. So, you know, that they just love it. Those products are hot, 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 hot. Now, I advise you to visit my website and consider signing on before your neighbor does. Now, this is the kicker. When you build up a route with the mugshot papers and the joke paper, and it's very easy. You buy the 10,000 papers. It costs you under $1,000. I teach you how to do it. We're designing your first page the first night. You'll watch me do it. You'll do some of it. You're going to love it. So now you get these 10,000 papers. They come bundled in 100. You drop off at 100 different stores a bundle of 100. Boom. So easy. They're all so anxious to sell the papers for you. I've had stops, supermarkets, that got 6 registers. And the 6 registers, they sell a bundle a week. So one stop could sell 600 papers a week for you. That's $600 a week off one location. And you'll be making money while you sleep, because the 24-hour gas stations and the bodegas that are open late, they're going to be selling your paper while you're sleeping. Unbelievable. Finally, you could make money while you're sleeping. And it's not one of those scams. You've been in those gas stations. You've been in those bodegas. You've seen those newspapers, those pre-priced papers, the magazines on the rack. You've seen it. You know that stuff is selling, and you don't gotta be selling it. The guy you drop the papers off at, he's paying the rent on the store, and he's selling the papers for you. And if he's home sleeping, the guy he's paying to run the store is selling the papers for you. So it's unbelievable. You're going to grab $109 profit right off this little bundle. You give the guy 50 cents, cost you 9 cents to print. Boom, you got your dollar. You got your dollar profit on the thing. It's unbelievable. And you could start this business 3 hours a week. You could make $100,000 a year. Let's say you're working 60 hours a week, but you got Sunday off. So you take 3 hours on Sunday from 9 to 12, and you go out and you put out 25 locations, 25 bundles, 25 stops. So the first Sunday, 25 stops go out. The second Sunday, another 25. And the third and the fourth Sunday. Now you got 100 stops out there. You got your 10,000 papers out there. The fifth Sunday, you go back to the first 25 stops that you put the paper out. You collect your money, and you give them fresh papers. And then the next week, you go to the second set, and you collect your money, and you give them fresh papers. And so you're going to sell 10,000 papers a month. You're going to make $10,000 a month. That's $120,000 a year. And as your business grows, you'll make more. And even if you get a few papers left, you made your $100,000. It's unbelievable. The papers never go stale. It's not like produce. That's the same way the bread guy and the chip guy and the little Debbie guy and the hostess and the candy guy, they're all doing what's called rack jobbing. That's what this is. It's newspaper rack jobbing, but you don't need no rack. You're going to put it right on the counter. And if the guy don't put it on the counter, tell him you don't need him, because everybody wants your paper. The list of stores that want your paper are on the website, funnewsfranchise.com. Everybody wants to take in a product on consignment where they don't have to invest any money and they could make money. And they're especially happy because you're not taking any money away from anything else. They don't have anything like it. And when you watch the videotapes about the mugshot papers, most of those guys are making a fortune. And you could see it on the videotapes. But they're all in the gas stations. My students are in all the stores, the restaurants, the bakeries, the butchers, the beauty parlors, you name it, they're in it. And they're making money because you know something? The gas stations ain't the only way to go. Not everybody gets out of the car and goes into the gas station for a pack of cigarettes. That's getting less and less and less. We're not smoking anymore. And if we are, we're ordering online like I am. Anyhow, all the drugstores, the bodegas, the dollar stores, the bowling alleys, the restaurants, the pizza places, the diners, every store in the strip is going to want to distribute the paper. And you're going to want to give it to them because you never know what store that customer is going to park his car at and go into. Now, the thing is, I know you've been looking for a business for a long time. And I know you've been looking at a lot of nonsense. And I know you know this is real. You could tell this is real. But you got to work with me. I can't help you if you don't let me. Stop procrastinating. Don't be afraid to call me up and ask me about your community. If you're afraid, send me an email. I'll still tell you about your community. And then, if you're really afraid, talk to somebody you know, somebody who's experienced and successful in business. Once they see this opportunity, they will jump at it. They will put you into this business. So remember, anything you want to do, if you want to do a targeted advertising type vehicle like Valpak, Clipper Magazine, Coffee News, a whole bunch of them, no problem. That's my specialty. That's what I was doing. If you want to do any other kind of franchise type magazine, Homes and Land, Auto Trader, doesn't matter. I teach you how to do it. If you want to do pre-priced papers like the mugshot or the joke papers, like the route service people, no problem. I teach you how to do it. And you know something? While you're doing your route business, you're also going to collect money on ads. You're going to get $400 for a quarter-page ad because people are going to see this in your paper and they're going to call and they're going to say, hey, how much is it? What about the advertising? And you're going to sell them. You'll get 2 or 3 little advertisers because you don't want to fill up your paper with advertisers, but you get 2 or 3 little advertisers in your pre-priced paper, and you paid for all the printing. I mean, you got everything with the pre-priced papers, and you could do it part-time. Oh man, this is the opportunity. That's why the sharks wanted me to charge $100,000 and turn this into a franchise. But I didn't want to do it. I'm fighting them. I says I want to help the little guys like you, the guys that don't want to spend no money. The guys that want to start for free, that's the guys I want to help. And there's a whole video on my website, Start for Free. But remember, I can't help you if you don't reach out to me. And I can help you. And you know, once you build up the route with the pre-priced papers, then you could sell those routes for a fortune. You know how much a Boar's Head route costs today? Millions of dollars. Tropicana juice route, $1 million. The FedEx routes, forget about it. The little ones, they're not so much money, but man, and you know why there's so much money? Because all the guy does is go there, fill up the rack, whatever's missing, he collects the money for it. The same thing you do with the newspapers. So not only can you make a great living from day one with the pre-priced papers, but you can build this up and sell it. You can take any of the things I teach you and turn them into national franchise opportunities. You could become rich. I mean, I didn't bother. I didn't start my first paper till I was already retired. And I don't care. I don't feel like I want to work when I want to work. I like to do graphics, and I like to work with students. And I work around your schedule. Whatever's a good time for the students, that's a good time for me. So that's the whole story. There's a lot more on the website. Make sure you watch every category on the left. Make sure you watch every video. When you get to the home page, there's a playlist of 11 videos. If you watch those 11 videos, you'll know everything. And that's what you have to do. Knowledge is power. The Shark Tank, they tried to buy me, but I wouldn't sell. But I'll work with you, but they're still calling. They still want me to go back again. They cut my segment off the TV show because I wouldn't deal with them. But maybe one day I'll go back. But anyhow, visit the website. Call me up. I'll check on your community. If this opportunity or opportunities, you know, there's so many different ways you can make money with what I teach you, that it's really opportunities. And according to the sharks, it's millions of dollars worth of opportunities. And you can start for free. If you want me to take you the whole limit, you'll sign on and I'll train you with some of my personal services for $1,995. I give you the softwares that you're going to need. I teach you how to design ads, advertorials, lay out the paper, do the bulk mailing. I tweak your ads. I spend hour after hour after hour working one-on-one with you. You don't have to hire me. I don't care. But either way, visit the website. Start for free. Don't be a stranger. I'm still going to check out your website and, you know, all of that stuff regardless. Just give me a call, send me an email. I'll check on your community, and my name is Art. Bye-bye.
Yeah, my name is Art, and I publish newspapers. And I've been making $100,000 for the last few years right out of my house. And I could teach you to do the same thing. Publish newspapers in your own community. It's free to get started, doesn't cost any money, and you can make a fortune. Visit my website, funnewsfranchise.com. I've taught over 500 people the last few years to do their own newspapers and magazines, and they're all operating their own fantastic home businesses right out of their house. Costs no money to get started. Can you beat that? Anyhow, don't be a stranger. Visit the website. If you have any questions, just call up and I'll give you some help. Thanks for your time today. Let's go into business. Stop working for someone else. Thank you. Bye-bye.